Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. Dr. Eve here, and welcome to my live. Welcome to TOLTM Conversations, you all. Where today we're talking about staying focused in this season. There is so much going on, and if we get distracted, then we could really miss it. We can miss a lot of things because of distraction. So I want to talk to you about that today while I harvested greens yesterday. Y'all, about 10 pounds of greens yesterday. And so I'm super excited. And I figured I'd let you all come on the journey with me while I am getting these greens ready for refrigeration or for the freezer. So my grandma always taught me and my mama to take these stems out, take them stems out. So and so you can parch them, get them ready and put them in the freezer so that your greens won't go bad. So I'm so excited to be with you all today because so much is happening and I just wanted to come and chat with you all. So yesterday, let me just tell y'all, yesterday was an amazing day. Happy belated Mother's Day to all of you who were chosen to be moms. Um, it's always good to honor a mother every single day. So I'm super, again, one day is cool, the world acknowledges us, but I want to acknowledge you each and every day for the things that you do and the commitment you made to raising your children, even in the rest, even in a time like this where things are so left. I mean, so um, uncertain, right? With the rising prices of this and the rising prices of that. One of the things in this season that I think is critically important to understand is that God said in His Word that He gave us every seed bearing thing as meat for every fruit bearing, every seed bearing fruit for meat to eat. And it may not be exactly verbatim like that because I know the story, but I know he gave us every seed bearing thing to eat, fruit bearing fruit to eat as meat. And so the thing to remember is that if the word says that he gave us those things to eat as meat, then we shouldn't be hungry, right? Because that what it means is that we have to condition ourselves to eat what he gave us to eat. It seems that that would be, the more I was in the garden yesterday, and the more I began to harvest all of my green vegetables and, to get them prepared because I eat clean, Do I eat meat every now and then? Of course, sometimes, but I don't desire it all the time. So my palate has become conditioned to eating raw food and I love smoothies, so I'll get a smoothie and I raise chicken, so I have eggs, but I'm very conditioned to eating green things. And I know that for the love of God, his food heals. His food really does heal. It healed my body. Just a little testimony. I in 2023 was headed on a cruise, and on cruises, people eat a lot. They eat all the time. That's all people do on the cruise is eat. And I was bargaining. I was bargaining with God because I usually fast the first 3 days of the month. And so I started bargaining with God. I said, "Listen, God, can I just not do this month because uh that's all they do. That's all they serve. They serve a lot of food on the boat." And so I'm this me negotiating with God now, y'all. And so um I'm for a few days, quite a few days leading up to the cruise, I continued to ask God to relieve me of the responsibility of having to fast. And so a few days in, I realized that there was a mass growing on my neck. And I heard the still small voice of God say, "It's not time. This is not the time." And so, as I moved on and prepared for the cruise, my heart, I knew in my heart that I did not give whatever this was permission to reside in my body. And so it didn't have a right to be there. It was in there illegally. And so and so I knew that it had to go, but there was something I needed to do to get rid of it. And so while I was negotiating with God about giving me, permission to not fast that month, he said it's not the time. And so as I proceeded towards the cruise dates, I had to prepare my mind and my heart, to be with a lot of people. I was on an investment cruise, and so I was with a lot of my friends, and we were having a great time, boat full of investors. And so at that point, I realized that I had to be obedient, right? What am I making? I'm actually preparing my collards that I harvested yesterday for to go in the freezer. So yes, I figured I'd take you all on the journey with me while I tell you a story, because I like coming over here talking to folks. So anyway, I figured I'd tell you all a little story. So I get 2 days into the cruise, it's like the 28th. And so I got to prepare my mind. Well, mind you, this thing is continuing to grow. This mass is continuing to grow on my neck. And my husband, and I even shared with some folks that was on the cruise, that this was happening. I was a little, unnerved. I was a little nerved about it, because it was continuing to grow. But I knew that it did not belong there. So on the first, I proceeded. I went on that fast. It was a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it was raw food after that. So I did the 3 days. I fasted 3 days. Or even on the cruise, I had to get heat pads because it was beginning to hurt. It was getting larger, but it was also beginning to hurt. And so I I rested and was obedient. I was obedient to the word of God. And I went on that fast, and I steadfast to that raw diet. And when I came off the cruise, again, the mass was still there. And I heard God say, "Give me 21. Give me 21." So at that point, I realized that my 3 days was not enough, and that I needed to be obedient. So I gave God 21 days, um, fasting with 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and all raw food, all raw. I mean, no cooked food at all. And to God be the glory, the mass went away. So when I tell you that, you know, these things that are invading our bodies, we can our bodies are under our control. We have the ability to tell our bodies what to do, and we have to be vigilant about that, or we can fall victim to um, the things and ways of this world. And so again, I say to you that God said that He gave us every seed bearing thing as fruit to eat as meat, and so. Uh, we should never be hungry. The thing is, not only must we grow the food, but we have to harvest the seed. So not only did I harvest almost 10 pounds of greens yesterday, but I got those seeds too. So I have a whole bunch of seeds. I always grab my seeds. I let things go to flower. My question is this: Lord, if you said that every seed bearing thing bears a seed within itself, then where's the seed in this? So I'm always looking for the seed. Where is the seed? And so I'll be on a mission. I'm gonna get that to the chickens. See, that's kind of yellow. So I'm gonna give that to my chickens. I'll get the stems to them, keep them healthy to give them good food as well. And so I say this to you, I say all this to say to you that God's food does heal. It heals our body, and we must be vigilant about it. And just change our palates. It's just a matter of changing your palate. We don't have to eat the things that are on these shelves out here. Have I? Yes. I have done so many different diets, for one reason or another. I mean, I'm not a large woman, but I have after children, I always felt like I didn't really like the way I look. So I was really always trying to change things. And really all I need to do was eat God's food. And that's just simple as that. So anyway, I did that 21-day challenge and it went away. Now let me tell you something. Earlier this year, it tried me again. But again, what did I say to it? I gave you no legal access to reside in my body. So therefore you must go. What did I do? Fast. And what it means to me is that I've allowed some sort of toxin to enter my body. When that happens, I realize that I have let some sort of toxin into my body. Now, the thing is, do we want to keep doing that? Or do we want to begin to say, hey, you know what? There's something to this thing that God gave us this food to eat. There's something to this. And there's also something to me eating this stuff that's not good for me, that's causing this harm to my body. So my goal is, listen, how much more of God's food can I grow? How many ways can I enjoy it? How many ways can I save myself and my family from harm? How many ways can I supply my own food through seeds? Because the sad thing is that seeds are going to become a problematic as well. So if you might be growing this year, but there may not be any seeds next year. So the thing is, you have to remember that your efforts, even if you are gardening, your efforts have to be beyond just growing today. It has to be something that you learn, something that's sustainable, right? So, for all of us out here who are gardening, us new gardeners, us semi immediate, those of us who got it right already, I'm out here every day observing what I didn't get right yesterday. So, yesterday I spent time, I was able to get a wood chip pile from my neighbor. My neighbor had limbs removed from his tree, and baby, I was right there for the tree trimmers. I was like, you can dump that over here on my property because, baby, I'm laying that wood chip. I'm laying the wood chips because the wood chips are going to keep my soil moist for the summertime so that I can have, my crops I won't lose my crops to the climate because the climate is so bad, right? Now, so I spent time in that hot wood pile. Y'all, it's so much fun. It's learning for me is it's really like for me, it's about I'm a student. I'm a student, a lifetime student of learning how to do things differently, how to improve my life, how to improve the quality of my children's lives. How do I leave this estate as a legacy for them? That's really important to me. So yeah, super excited about learning every single day. Now, when I went to bed last night, whoo, let me tell you something. Every fiber of my being was was aching, and it was because I want y'all to see something. A lot of times we don't know, but you see those. These are the first two leaves. This is the first two leaves of every plant. I'm learning now. These weren't the true leaves. These were the true leaves. So I can now spot a plant. When I look at a plant, the harvest, I was like, oh, those was the seeds. That's where the seed died, right? But the plant grew. So in order to get food, you plant the seed, but the seed has to die, but the food grows, right? And then what happens at the end of that life of that plant? If you let it flower, you get more seeds. So the seed really does not never die. It keeps producing. It's wild. It's wild when you think about the way food grows, right? So how do I harvest these greens? And y'all, the bug pest pressure is on out here. So every day I go out, I examine my plants, I check them, make sure, because some of them are getting worn down by the pressure of the pest. But I am there. I have onions and garlic and flowers and marigolds and all kinds of things. But the aphids don't care about none of that. The aphids is here for it. So for the aphids, I literally put mixed baking soda and dishwashing liquid together with a little bit of neem oil, and I spray my plants at night. I spray them at night, nice oily leaves so that the aphids don't want that stuff. They don't want it. So, baby, I'm doing whatever I have to do to keep my plants alive. And then, so when I bring them in, I wash them because I want to make sure that there's no residue. The good thing is I take a pot of water. I'll take one of these little bins. I keep these little pails outside. Thank God. Y'all, this a little Dollar Tree hack. Grab you some pails, because you're gonna need them if you are gardening to put things in, your groceries in, or to wash things in, all the things. And I'll fill it with some soapy water, and then I'll wash my vegetables before I bring them in, because if you don't, you're bringing the pests in with you. So I don't want to bring the pest into the house. So I'm always I will wash them outside, and then I will bring them in. And they are so crispy. So I will take a handful of these. Like, I'm gonna probably bag some of these in individual bags for smoothies. So, like, I won't freeze all of these together. I'm gonna, like, literally take fruit and this and package them separately for my blender, so that I can just pull out a smoothie in the morning. And if the more you prepare yourself to practice healthy eating, the better results you're going to get, because you know how you get hungry and you just want to eat, you're hungry. And so when you don't have what you need, you typically will just go in there and grab something, right? Anything. And most of the time, what you're grabbing is not good for you. This leaf went through something. So, so if you prepare, and another way to prepare, I don't know if you know this, but these little jars right here, you can food prep. You can literally I can chop greens. Maybe I can prepare for maybe a fresh week, and I could take a bunch of these and put them in a jar. Put them in my refrigerator. They're gonna stay fresh, right? They're gonna stay fresh. So I love having things around that I buy things to help me to be successful. Help me be successful, because that's the goal, right? When you are growing food, you should be eating that food, or sharing with your neighbors, or taking it to market, because you can also take your stuff to market. We are a pharmacy over. We are an estate. We are a nursery. We are all the things. And I grow food. I grow seeds to help my neighbors. Um, because why? Because you want to help your neighbor, right? In this time, we have to help each other. I told my neighbors when I got that wood chip pile, if you need this wood, let's get this wood on our grounds. Let's protect our soil. Let's protect our plants, because we have to do that for each other. So you have to build community around what you're doing. Some people are good at this, some people are good at that. And like, I have one neighbor who's in construction. This leaf is terrible. In construction, so he can help me. He helps with solar, and so I'm really excited about that. Because I have shared with my community time and time again, to get prepared, because we were going to see some really, really hard times. And just like that, y'all, just like that, we got fresh, fresh, fresh leaves. Okay. So I have about, I got quite a few more of these to do. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna probably do a study on. Y'all know I'm a researcher, so I'm gonna do a study on how long I can refrigerate these in a jar to see how many I can prep for the week, and then I'm going to do some small bags. I was thinking I might could freeze dry some of them. I've not freeze dried greens before, but I have freeze dried the broccoli. So if I can freeze dry broccoli, then why can't I freeze dry these greens? I could actually probably make some green powder to um to put in a smoothie. These mm, mm, they're green and they're fresh. Mm, mm-hmm. Nice and fresh. Mm, God's food, right? At first you think, oh well, I couldn't eat that. That's kind of bitter. But the more you eat it, the more your palate becomes accustomed to it. And I think that's what we have to get in the behavior of learning to eat God's food. So what I'm about to do is make me a smoothie because baby, these greens are fresh. And then I have some other greens I'm gonna so these are fresh collards, but I have some leaves from my Brussels sprouts. If you didn't know, but you can eat Brussels sprout leaves, you can eat Brussels sprout leaves just like you eat spinach. So I have uh, a whole pail of those. I don't have to do much to those because they don't have a large spine, a big spine. But if they do, I'm just getting ready to go examine them, and then I'm gonna put those up because my Brussels sprouts, it got a little cool here, so I was getting ready to pull them. They have not flowered yet. So I was getting ready to pull them, and some said, don't pull them. So instead of pulling them, I pulled the leaves off the bottoms because what happens is if you don't harvest the leaves, then the plant won't grow. It's going to spend more energy on all these leaves that it doesn't need to spend time and energy on. So that's a whole lesson, right? Do you need to spend as much time as you spending on some of those things that you spending time on, or should you be pulling back? Should you be pruning a little bit so that you can get the fruit that you're supposed to get. Now that's a whole lesson for somebody out there because I'm telling you, the more I plant, the more I learn, the more I stay in this garden, the more lessons God gives to me about his intention for us as his soldiers, right? Because I'm a kingdom citizen out here kingdom scouting. And so not only do I have these beautiful fresh greens, but baby, I'm getting ready to go feed my chickens. This this is their food. And boy, do they love it. They love some snacks. So over here on the homestead, we don't just eat. They give us eggs. We got to take good care of them too. So I just wanted to come in for a minute and share with you all. I hope you all enjoyed the testimony. It was really about giving you hope, right? Because there's hope for us. But we must look in the right direction. Okay. There's hope if you look in the right direction. What should you be doing right now? You should find seeds. You should go to a Dollar Tree and buy you some of these pails. You should puncture some holes in the bottom. You should plan. Maybe watch some videos on hydroponics. Maybe get you a couple of, food pails with a top on it where you get you a couple pool noodles and learn how to hydroponic. So That's where you should be really channeling your energy, because the primary thing we must have in order to survive is food. Okay. Um, quite honestly, the way I've been thinking about the homeless for a while. And I've been also thinking about how they are survivors, right? I also think about, if there any was an apocalypse, you know who gonna survive? The homeless, because they have built up a resilience for scouting. They have built up a resilience for surviving even under the worst conditions, right? So if you're not practicing getting outside of what's comfortable to you, um, a sudden weather condition could wipe people out, right? Maybe it's not coming near you. Psalm 91, which you should be praying over your family. At the same time, we don't know. And so if we don't, what we must know is that we must be built in the the resilience to survive, right? Because it's a revival. It's revival time, baby. And in a revival, you know what? To be revived is to stay alive. Okay. Let me say that again. To be revived, is to stay alive. And so, are you going to stay alive? I guess should be the question, right? That should be the real question. To be revived is to stay alive. So I encourage you to stay focused, on that which is important. I encourage you to build in the necessary um, infrastructure that you need to be revived for this revival. Build in the necessary things for revival, okay? Because the goal is, at this point, the goal in this hour is to stay alive, okay? Um, Stay in your word, let it feed you, let it nurture you, let it take care of you. Learn how to eat, learn how to grow, grab you some seeds, because here's the deal. In case you didn't know, the seeds been modified. Some of the seeds been modified. Seeds have also been patented. A lot of seeds have been patented. You won't be able to grow certain things, right? So if you are not learning 360 degrees of this whole life cycle of a seed, then revival will be hard. Okay. So we have to learn how to give our body less, give it what it needs and desires to sustain to re- for the revival. For the revival, people. For the revival, okay? Because this is about staying alive. All right. So for those of you who don't know me, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Eve, your community health and human service educator and qualitative researcher. More than that, I am a child of the Most High and a kingdom citizen, okay? Over here, kingdom scouting and learning how to do all things well according to kingdom principles and the word of God. All right, so if you like what you hear and see here, please like and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so that you'll know when I am live. So, for those of you who didn't know, I did the video the other day on how to create your own natural hair gel for the lockers. Those who are locked, well, this is the results. This is the results of my locks that I use the flaxseed gel. See, I used a flaxseed gel that I made in my own kitchen with some flax seeds and created my own natural gel. So I don't, y'all, we won't have we don't have access. Who making the hair products? Who making the hair products though? Let me ask y'all that. Who making them? Most of the hair products that y'all buy from the Asians. So who making them? Who make it? Who making them? Who making them hair products? If we not learning, if we not learning, y'all see how pretty my nails are? That come from eating good too. I took the nails off and I decided to go back to my natural nails, natural everything. Because why? Because I knew something was, I always know, I always know when we are on the brink of something. That's why I knew to get those chickens last year. I ain't know nothing about raising no chickens, but baby, come January, when the world went left, my chickens was giving me some eggs. God has given me high discernment that things there's something coming. And in January, he said, take the nails off, take them off, because and grow your own because you have beautiful nails, right? You eat well, so your nails are beautiful, right? So it's hard to not have them because I'm so used to my nails being really long, but they will be long again, but they're gonna be mine. They're not gonna be no acrylic overlay, right? So I had beautiful nails anyway, but I put acrylic over them so that because polish lasts longer. But I just won't use no polish. I'm gonna use some clear, right? clear, clear, and clear nails. The less you do to your harm to your body, your skin, y'all skin is the biggest organ on your body. What you put on this skin matters. What you put in your body matters, right? What you put in your hair matters. It all matters. So, in all manner of things, I want y'all to, in all manner of things, I want y'all to try to go back to the land. Get back to the land. I am the child of a flower child. So I was born in the 60s, early 60s. And that was the time when our parents was going back to the land. Why? Because it was post Vietnam, post Woodstock era. And our parents just was not feeling what the world was doing to what was happening, the governance, the over governance, systemic violence, all the things that was happening to them in that time. They were not feeling it. So back to the land it was, right? How do we live simple? How can we live a simple life with less governance? That is where we must be thinking, simple life, less governance, and how are we going to live? How are we going to sustain the great revival, right? So y'all y'all make sure you like and subscribe. I'll be back later because I'm trying to build relationships over here on my channel where we talk about all things sustainable living, right? Because let me tell you, there's some things that are happening in this earth that if you are not paying attention and all you're doing is sitting and absorbing the news, while you could be doing something for you and your family, taking steps, taking action towards the things that you need to be doing, then every day is a day that's wasted, right? Every day that you allow to pass is a day that is wasted. We cannot waste our time. I was, it, I told y'all, it was Mother's Day. So what? I was out there because why? All I have is today. And the word tells me to work while it is still day because the night is coming when no man can work. So if that's the case, Mother's Day, Super Day, Father's Day, Children's Day, every day. How about that? every day. Every day is a day to do the work. Okay. So y'all go out there and y'all be great. Okay. Have the most amazing day. And whatever you do, don't let anyone get in the way on your journey to becoming who God has called you to become in this season. Okay. Seasons change and they change every day. May you have, again, I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.